Now that the fight's over, everything seemed to be wrapping up nicely, until Ran Rua punched me in the face, damn bitch.
That's only because I've spent the last 5 years in this shithole looking for the Runewell, and you took it right from under me.
Oh yes, your precious Runewell. Be glad I was in a trance when you hit me, otherwise I'd have broken your damn nose.
As if you would have even had the time to do so. If I didn't have everyone else surrounding me, there would have been a lot more I could have done to you.
Oh, please. Like you could actually hurt me. I don't even know how the hell you became the Goblin Bane. I'm not convinced you could take down one.
I don't need to show you how many I can take on us at once.
Right, well, luckily everyone else tried to help me.
Yeah, fortunate enough that everyone was here to help you. All the care and confusion sidetracked for your pretty little ass.
Guys, that wasn't part of the... okay. Back to the script. Soon creeping in with a horde of zombies, the Thistletop Goblin hero Korovos wished to discuss a deal with the angels. It turns out Korovos is not a fan of Neuralia, for Neuralia has been using his goblins to attack Sandpoint. Korovos wishes for Neuralia and any goblins that follow her to be slain. In exchange, Korovos offers to lead the goblins that are still loyal to him after a divisionary force so that we can storm Thistletop. But in return, Korovos wants to be able to return with his goblins and regain the stronghold, along with the Runewell laying within. This will allow Korovos to chart a new path for his tribe. Discussing a possible deal with Korovos, he informed us that Noala and some of her followers have mythic power, then left with his zombie horde.
Finally left alone in the catacombs of Wrath, the angels were racked with doubts and conflict, considering the goblin problem was worse than they thought. One of our own had schemes of her own, and another is still trying to understand what happened to her. Before leaving, we at least deduced the cyclical nature of the minor runewells of Wrath, and discovered that the one recently drained could have been activated possibly 10 years ago. With much to discuss and wishing for a change in tone, I beckoned the angels to get breakfast back at my inn. On the way out, Hecht had a stern chat with Ranrua and Evan to motivate them to be better companions. In addition, Uxio gave a warning to Ranrua before leaving. It's always charming when Uxio gets worked up to be my adorable guard dog.
Once we made it back to Sandpoint's North Gate, Bella managed to gain control over New Halo, with help from Ameko and Zerdan. As the group looked around town, Zerdan and I strayed from the group to attend to some urgent matters. At the Red Dog Smithy, I traded in a pile of goblin dog slicers and acquired a longbow and falchion after some hustled bartering. Das Corvut basically got every coin I had, but it's evident with the coming events, I'm going to need proper battlefield weapons. On the other side of town, Zerdan regrouped with the guards who were led by veteran ranger Shaylee and updated them on the situation with Sudo and the goblins.
Eventually, I led what remained of the angels back to the Rusty Dragon Inn. Though I was briefly shocked at the broken door, I quickly realized what happened and resumed making breakfast as usual. Just something else Uxio owes me for. Still, I love how protective he can be of me. After I prepared meals for all the angels, Shaylee and the boys arrived at the inn, ready to discuss what to do next.
You guys are inside of...
Most of us are sitting at a table Uxio had to fix the door, but then his food was served in the back.
Yeah, he's in the kitchen right now. There is
A very lovely dog dish.
very lovely dog dish, yes. With his
Because
food
he's in the
it.
doghouse. Also, I imagine that as Shaylee walks into the bar, the door falls back off, and Uxio hears it from the kitchen.
Sorry about that.
Uxio comes back in holding his kebab, and then the door just kind of seemingly picks itself back up and puts itself on there, and Amiko just chuckles to herself.
You did have it prepared.
She looks back at you and says, "You really need to learn your classes. Bards don't prepare spells."
Yes, that is a thing.
She pulls up a chair and gives it a polite pat as Zerdan and Shaylee walk in.
I think Ranrua would respond to Amiko's comment. Preparing spells is more for the wizards.
Well, preparing is also an alchemy thing. As I hoist my formula book and put it back into my coat and that.
As Zerdan and Shaylee walk in, the elf that walks in with Zerdan gives like a polite but professional bow, and she introduces herself. "Greetings, my name is Shalelu. I'm a ranger that frequently works with Sandpoint on the goblin problem. Some of you I'm familiar with." She nods at Uxio and Hecht and Zerdan and Ran Rua, but is mostly doing this for Bella and Evan's benefit.
Because they're the new ones in town.
Exactly. Amiko gives her a big old smile as the invisible servant that Amiko summoned brings out everyone else's food. You guys have now got your favorite food bonus, assuming that you're going to be eating breakfast with everybody.
I will.
Of course.
I might as well.
Bella absolutely will. You think it's easy to use blood rage on an empty stomach?
As the situation is being explained, Amiko, being the host, just kind of reiterates the situation. The general knowledge being that she was kidnapped by her brother. Her brother is working for a ASMR who has essentially given up her soul to Lamashtu. And this Astamar is intending to sacrifice Sandpoint to Lamashtu in a burnt offering, which is the name of the module. That offering will gain her mythic power, along with changing her bloodline from celestial to infernal. Right now, they're just kind of... Amiko has revealed that Ran Rua is not who she appeared to be, and half the party, especially Amiko, is really pissed off about this because Amiko sees this as like a personal betrayal. She looks at Ran Rua and says, "So, what do you have to say for yourself? Keep in mind, you are surrounded by people who not only are professional investigators, but also personal lie detectors."
Well, I can't really understand why you think this is a sudden betrayal. The Runewell has never really been relevant between us until today. And up until, I have always kept my word with you.
Everyone who I have control of just nods at you variously or listens intently. Like, if you want to read the room, you could do a sense motive or a perception.
17.
So Amiko has got this quiet, calculated look on her face. From what you could see, she's barely blinking. She's just trying to drink your every word. Shalilu, she's actually kind of confused. Like, out of all the town guards, Shaylee kind of admired you the most, and she's just absolutely baffled that you attacked someone that you guys considered friends. Evan is just kind of like, he's not even trying to hide it. He's just like quietly heartbroken.
Can't say Ranrua really viewed anyone as friend.
Fair. That's the room as far as you can tell. The party can decide if they want their face to wear their emotions, or they can roll diplomacy in order to hide their reaction.
I'm kind of just observing at the moment. I'm not really too phased at the moment now that the shock fell off from the Runewell, but I kind of got other things on my mind right now with the freaking burnt offering that's on its way.
Middle of last session, Uxio made sure Ranrua knew his position.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna feel much reason to hide his emotions for this.
I'm gonna just let my face be shown. I'm more wanting to just drag her straight to the temple and make her spill everything.
Jeez.
Well,
So your face is being shown. The helmet's off then.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be much more of a challenge.
Bella is going to try, but I don't know how. She probably won't be too successful.
Yeah, she can kind of read your face.
You were almost there.
Almost.
Almost.
I honestly didn't expect her to pass, so that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So how's Bella feeling about this?
She's fairly uncomfortable at the moment.
Shaylee would say this. Okay, so you came here for the Runewells, right?
That is correct.
Why didn't you mention this to anybody? Like, if you needed Runewells for whatever reason, is that really even a bad thing? She clarifies, these Runewells are these ancient fonts of power, right? What do you even
Correct.
need that amount of power for?
'Tis not for myself.
All right. Not that I particularly care too much, but how would you even know that there was a Runewell in the general area of Sandpoint? It's not like it's clearly on display saying Runewell of Wrath right here.
Yes, I've said nothing about it for the time I was here, because it never seemed that anyone here was entirely aware of it.
Well, I was certainly aware that Varissia was home to quite a bit of Thessalonian ruins and artifacts, but...
And there's that one professor on the coast.
Yes, Brodert, you might want to talk to him a bit after this, but... Honestly, the only real question that you have to answer for me, Ran Rua, is whether or not you're going to turn on Sandpoint eventually. Assuming all is said and done.
If I had been able to find the Runewell before today, say if I had been able to find it months ago, then I would have needed the time to find out how to drain the well, of which I did not have any means to do so. Afterward, I would have simply left and moved on to the next one.
And that's it? No plans to burn Sandpoint to the ground or anything of the nefarious?
Given the goblin raids, this town would have fallen without me.
I guess, is Ranrua lying about this?
Ranrua's, she's being very truthful. If she had gotten the Runewell's power, she would have buggered off.
Okay.
Ran Rua almost never lies. Excluding details, sure.
Yeah.
Bend the truth a little bit, yeah, but never outright lie.
Shaylee actually did notice, and she said, that's nice and all, but again, you didn't answer any of our questions as to why you needed it and how you found out about it. And you even said yourself, she's like got 3 fingers up, that you didn't want it for yourself. So, gonna need you to answer those, dear.
Yes, it's a very good question to ask, especially since you literally just said that you were just going to use Sandpoint like any of your people that you sleep with and then leave.
Damn.
And Shaylee, like, her eyebrows shoot like above her head on that one, and she says, and while we're on the uncomfortable conversation, if you have a patron of some kind, I don't know any single Lamia patron with good intentions.
So what would be the knowledge check for Lamia's, now that we're bringing that up?
That would be whatever dungeoneering is mixed with. I would say Arcana, History, Religion could work. Essentially everything but nature would work here.
Dang it!
Okay.
The
So-
only one I'm trained in is the one that doesn't work.
Right.
Alright, the survey says...
Lamias have a complex set of religions. Any one of them could benefit from a Runewell. But as far as you know, Ranrua didn't worship any gods specifically, did she?
No. And be like, somebody did send me here. It was the first location for a Runewell that I was told to go.
And did you have any idea that your patron knew more Runewells for you to go to?
Would not be of any surprise they know more.
The next awkward question is, so you're not doing this for the service of Lamashtu? Yeah,
No, not Lamashtu.
according to the wiki, Lamia are the children of Lamashtu.
She is not doing this for Lamashtu.
Okay.
Okay.
So your patron sent you here for the Runewells. Ran Rua, you're not making a good case for yourself for us to trust you. We don't know who your patron is, what they want, or anything like that, but granting mythic power to people is a huge event. If you're after that, like, we kind of need to know who it's for.
Something I really do not want to say.
You have a burnt bridge in front of you, and a good way to start repairing it is this information.
As much as I'd like to hold hands and sing Kumbaya with everyone, we can only bring the horse to the river. We can't make it drink. So if Ranrua doesn't want to say, there's not much we can do aside from going to the route of Hell Knights and going for brutal interrogation. But even I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies, no.
Yeah, both Shaylee and Amiko like kind of shudder at the idea. I don't think bringing the Hell Knights into this is a good idea, but...
Oh yeah, that would be bad for multiple reasons, which is why I'm not for it. Anywho, if Ranrua is not willing to discuss, as far as I'm concerned, that's as much as we can do on our end till something develops. Because right now we have more pressing problems with Korovis and the goblin horde of Thistletop.
We definitely need a strategy for that. A proper strategy, not just something we spitballed down in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
While we were discussing this, you guys made a deal with this Korovis, right? Shaylee adds on top of Zerdan's point.
Yes, we did.
Well,
Did we officially make the deal, or did it just get proposed?
it was proposed because we were kind of like mixing him up on how you just got your mythic powers, so we couldn't make any promises as far as what you would do when the Runewell comes into field of view. So
Let's also be realistic. If we said no, I'm sure he probably would have killed us on the spot with his literally endless horde behind him.
yeah, those zombies are no joke.
I'm not so sure about it being endless, but it definitely would have been too much for us.
Was not worth the trouble if we were to decline on the spot.
As far as that's concerned, that could easily be, although Korovis proposed the deal to us, he didn't necessarily say that we had to let Sandpoint in on this so that goblins can take the fort or whatever. So as far as things could happen, Sandpoint could just roll up on Korovis after we do our bit in the fort, and suddenly Korovis is dead, and all the goblins.
The exact thing he asked for was that we do not harm the goblins that he takes to go chasing after our distraction group.
And to not drain the rune well that lies within.
Shaylee points out, it's like, I have no qualms about breaking deals with goblins because they would do the first thing to us. I don't think it's a good idea to give Korovis what he wants.
Yeah.
If I were to be on the distraction side, who's to say his goblins would not try to attack me first thing?
You're proposing that you're going to be the distraction, correct?
No,
I
I
did
think
not speak
that's...
of. I did not say that.
I proposed that back in the cave. Your reputation would certainly draw quite a few who are not in on his plan.
That is true.
But the question is, would any one of us be fast enough to get away and keep the horde away long enough for us to go in and deal with the business?
Right. So
There's always horses.
true. As currently acting sheriff, I'm sure I could requisition some other equipment that we could use, since apparently there are some people that we need to bring in as wanted fugitives alive.
Shaylee speaks up. I have a history with the goblins, and they hate me almost as much as they hate Goblin Bane. I could possibly serve as this, but you mentioned this Korovis wanted you to create a distraction large enough to send a small horde after him. We'll need to round up a few more guards at the very least.
Alright, and I believe we count 60 guards?
If we do a full armistice, yes.
If we use that many, it would definitely draw out a good amount of them.
The only problem is that while this is all going on, who's to say that nothing else happens in town while we take care of the goblin problem?
The last I spoke to Sheriff Baylor, he was going to Magnamar for the goblin business, and I believe he mentioned that he was picking up more guards to fortify Sandpoint. So it might be prudent to wait for his return. He should be back within a few days.
Assuming nothing happens to him on the road.
Considering they left in the dead of night with a small, like skeleton crew, there's a chance, but hopefully not.
Plan for the worst, hope for the best, in other words.
And assuming that all goes well with Sheriff Baylor and he's on the way to get reinforcements, we could safely send like an animal messenger, since we do have...
An animal messenger to Baylor or an animal messenger to Korovis? That's my question.
Baylor. That's another thing. Because we know where Korovis is at, right? As far as...
Yes, you know where Thistletop is at.
Okay.
And Shaylee has some insider information about it. Like, aside from Ran Rua, she's kind of the goblin expert.
Mm-hmm.
She's at least the local goblin expert. She knows more about the goblins in this particular area.
Right. With what we know, we can set up this diversionary group, have them lead the goblins on a merry chase into a possible trap where, assuming all goes well, we get Sheriff Baylor and his reinforcements to rally the cleanup crew on that end, while another group goes into the fort dealing with the priestess of Mamashchu and the other horde.
Okay. Shaylee's like, all right, I'll run and, with your permission, of course, Deputy, I'll run
Of course.
and like, I'll run and gather the troops, and we'll start formulating a plan, and at least we can conscript a few people until Sheriff Baylor returns.
Right, and while we're on that, I'll go through our inventory, making sure we get some other tools that might be necessary, since there are some wanted fugitives in that location as well.
Yeah, I think Bell'll speak up at this point and be like, so, the Runewell, we're not leaving that for him, are we?
Amiko slams her hand on the table. Definitely not. You are going to drain that Runewell dry and keep it away from anything. That necklace of yours can store all the mythic power, correct?
I don't know if it can hold all of it. I don't know how much there is, or if there's a limit to this.
Oh boy.
It is a good question that we have no answer to.
Amiko points out, you mentioned Father Zantis knows more about mythic power than others, right? What if we go meet up with him?
Oh, I was mostly gonna drag Bella over there because of the freaking fact that she had a halo and wings of an angel. She literally might be an angel and we might not even know it.
Ranrua would point to the amulet. For draining more rune wells, we should see fit to get more relics like that.
Well, that's assuming we can use said relics.
That's assuming we can find said relics.
Assuming there are said relics.
Assuming! Shaylee just says out loud, like...
Uxio is going to smile at Shaylee's outburst because a bit of levity is really appreciated right now.
Her normal professionalism drops for a second, and then it just comes back immediately. Sorry.
It's all good.
Even if
we
we
know
did,
each other well enough.
even if we do find them, we might not even be able to identify them. Mother had this examined by some mages at the Twilight Academy, and they couldn't tell what it was. They thought the magic in it was dead until, this morning.
Amiko points out, like, I recognize the symbol on that. That's an ancient Thessalonian Sahedron rune, but as far as I knew, none of them acted like literal rune wells like yours did.
True. Considering we don't really have too many active Thessalonian artifacts out and about in the world, I would assume that we might want to consult an expert as far as the next thing, because I don't think everyone had a comprehensive education on Thessalonian history, did they?
No.
Definitely not.
If there is someone who could be called an expert, we definitely need them to look at this, because I don't know if it was this that took control of me, or if it was the Runewell itself.
Could be a lot of things, but I'm sure Brodert will be able to explain things.
Uxio is pinching the bridge of his nose. We're probably going to have to go to Magnamar.
That's a possibility, but as far as right now, Brodert is the quickest thing we can access, since Magnamar is like what? Like a good number of days away?
It's definitely something that would have to be done after we deal with these goblins, but it's also where we're going to find the most potential academics to know as many possible answers.
Oh yeah, one of the major city-states, that's definitely a good place to start.
Very well. Shaylee points out, it's like, very well. I think to get started then, I'll go gather the troops. I'll conscript some volunteers. She's nodding her head like a mental checklist. I'll conscript some troops, gather everyone, share the information, prepare defenses. Anything else, Deputy?
Yes, we should set us up some equipment for the fortress crew that's going to go in, as I write up a list of additional weapons we can see if we can scrounge up from the armory. And I write down truncheons and saps and such. Basically weapons that could deal non-lethal damage if we need it.
She nods. If we're breaking our promise to this goblin, Herovis...
Well, it's not just the goblins, remember? It's a particular fugitive, Sudo, if we can get him alive anyway.
Amiko is genuinely taken aback and then gives you a very sincere thank you.
Don't mention it. I'm just hoping that when we do get in there that there aren't any other complications, since, as we just discussed, goblins aren't all that trustworthy and God knows who else is in there.
He did mention someone blessed of Namash or champion or something like that.
Something. More on that later. We can worry about that after we consult all our experts, gather everything we need, and really settle down on this plan to take care of the goblins once and for all.
Shaylee also points out we'll need a budget to either rent or buy horses too.
Yes.
I think Ran Rua would give a bit of a side eye to Amiko. And what would LoadingCrew have to spare?
Ah, that's right. I need to go handle Father's estate. She gives a long drawn out sigh and says, Shaylee, I think I'm going to go with you, and we'll go talk to the mayor and the lawyers and get that settled. Thank you for the reminder. She gives an icy look.
I mean, hey, Ran Rua's just to the point.
Alright. But otherwise, just call on me if anything comes up with the mayor that I need to deal with, okay?
You guys stand up. Shaylee also points out, I think it'd be a good idea to go see Father Zantis. Perhaps he can prepare some kind of holy water or some sort of defense against the undead. If they've got a zombie horde, then it would be pretty prudent to prepare for that as well.
Shaylee,
Fair enough.
I didn't realize you disliked me that much. Uxio says completely joking.
Yeah, she gives you like that Obama what the fuck look. Like the joke just completely missing her. She's like... You all have like essentially your chores. The girls are going to go see the mayor and prepare defenses, and you guys are going to go to Father Zantis.
Before Amiko leaves, Hex is actually going to gently grab her hand and say, your brother might be blinded by the wrongness that is going on, but I'm sure if we can take him back alive, your family's love will set him back on the right path.
Oh. She's taken aback at first, but then smiles and says, thank you. I really appreciate it. My brother's had a hard life, and I think that forgiveness and understanding is more important for him right now. But thank you.
I think Ran Rua's gonna attempt to hide gagging at the sappiness of this.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Like Ran Rua just bleh. And Amiko just hugs, like gives Hecht a genuine hug.
When the hug is close. And if not, then my holy flame will send him to the grave.
Damn.
Okay.
And it was so nicely done before.
she like pulls back and does that "you're so pretty" look. You know what I mean? Thank you. She leaves with Shaylee like really confused.
Oh sure, Hecht makes a death threat like a crusader, but I want to cut him up, and Amiko has a problem with that.
It's almost like I am a crusader.
It's also a matter of what was presented right
it's fine.
beforehand.
No, it kind of, like Hecht is at least doing it under the law.
Whereas
She's part of the law.
Ranrua
Yeah, Ranrua is just a giant bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what he's playing.
Oh
right?
yeah, she is large.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
large.
Exactly.
She's large.
Yeah,
So
that's how she's categorized. Large
just
creature.
do not ask her about her weight. Just don't.
How much do you weigh, Ranrua, and how
Yep,
many
I said
skin
no.
boots can I make?
You
Did you just say how many boots can you make?
Yes.
The invisible servant starts cleaning up, and the other hired hands at the tavern, including the halfling who can speak whatever Amiko's language is, starts gathering all the stuff. Like, she's not rushing you out, but you've got your duties. I will say
Why aren't you cleaning?
the breakfast and the quick rest has restored 5 hit points for all of you.
Yay!
Yay.
All right, so shall we go to Father Zantis?
I think
Yeah, let's get this over with.
You guys make it to Father Zantis. Hecht, you kind of explain the situation as best you can with Zerdan. Zantis listens calmly throughout the entire thing. As that happens, he sends out Rudin to go summon the Thessalonian expert that you guys know about. You guys basically gather in an office somewhere.
Good
T
to
is-
see that he's still repenting.
Actually, he's been quite helpful. Being a child of Abadar has given him focus. Really, he just needed to be set on the right path. I think he will eventually come back to the side of goodness and law. Thank you for bringing him here. It was a very wise decision.
It was the least we could do.
Now, as far as mythic power is concerned, Bella, could you please come forward and can I, with your permission, may I identify what's happening?
Yeah, let's find this out.
Thank you. He starts sending some pages and acolytes to like the scroll room to bring out various identifications and equipment. On the table, he's got like scrolls of identify and essentially other kind of magical things and sense alignment, that sort of stuff. He's got like a zone of truth and he's got legend lore on the table. He's like, I really hope that we don't need to use this one. This is a very valuable treasure of the church.
My main concern is just that there's nothing malicious about this.
Very well.
Are you alright, Uxio?
Don't get the wrong idea, Hecht. I do respect the gods. I just haven't felt that I fit in with their dogma.
And as you guys are prepping and doing this sort of thing, Ranrua, perception check.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Mhm.
24.
Yep.
All the gods are staring down at you,
yeah,
judging you.
There are some paladins, like, gathered. like, not only is Hecht here, but there's another paladin standing at the door, essentially, and every chance he gets, he looks at you.
Would any of them be particularly familiar to me?
Oh my god. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so this is a Desna church, but there's hold on. Let's see which goddess they serve. Roll 1d6.
2.
All right, that is Abadar. Okay. Abadar, to my knowledge, does not have anything against prostitution, but they do not like liars. So he's got a symbol of a key on him. So yeah, he's interesting. He's the one that manages the church treasury. I like that. Now, you wanted to know if he's familiar with you.
Yeah.
I say there's a 20% chance, and that's really high.
Okay.
I'll let you roll the D100. And if it's under 20, then he's aware of you. Biblically.
72.
No, he's not really into that.
Okay.
We're going to use Looker for now. That's Barty. Barty Goodcopper.
Barty Goodcopper.
That's a good name. That's a great name.
Yeah, it's a good name. It's good.
Barty as in barter? Ooh. The rude name to call him is Barter.
Yes.
He hates that nickname. He hates
He doesn't
barter.
like it.
Oh, he hates it. But
It makes him sound greedy.
It does, and he's not. He's fair. Yeah, Barty from accounting.
He's a wonderful paladin.
He is a paladin. I think a paladin is good. Maybe he's got like 1 level in Inquisitor. I don't know why. That just sounds right. Rudin eventually returns with Brodert. Now, Brodert does not have a token, but he does have artwork.
Oh,
Yeah.
that seems a little weird. They gave him artwork, but no token.
Well, do you expect to go 10 rounds with Brodert, man? That man could throw some fists.
I guess the cat came along too.
I guess, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're not just fighting Brodert, you're fighting the cat as well.
Listen,
And we all know cats are near impossible to hit.
You know what? The cat does come with him. Very important. He gives
Of
him a
course.
+2 lore check.
Okay.
Brodert is the cat. No.
Actually,
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
You know what? No. The cat's name is Professor Quink. I like the idea that he's a conspiracy theorist because I'm looking at him and he's got no job. He's nothing. He hangs out at the bookshop. He doesn't even buy books. You called me here about some stuff about some ancient Thessalonian nonsense. I can tell you right now that person, he points at Zerdan, is an ancient Thessalonian sin spawn sent here to destroy the morality of Sandpoint.
Oh,
You were
my
right to call me.
God.
I don't think that's true.
When did you get this idea? For 3 years I've been here, and when have you thought that at all?
Yes, if anyone is a sin spawn, spreading the sin of lust most likely, and he looks over at Ran Rua.
No, I think what you got here is a classic case of a matriarch, Lamia, coming here, and he just looks you up and down.
she's just giving him the stink eye for that.
Do you know what's hilarious?
Which one?
Do you know what's
Brodert or
hilarious, though?
Luxio?
What?
This
Yeah.
has 7 levels.
What?
What?
He has 7.
What?
In expert, according to
Right.
the wiki.
Okay, so at least it's like the NPC class and not one of the action.
Well, the thing is, he would still have 7 ranks in knowledge history, specializing in Thessalonian. He probably has at least a trait that gives him a +1, and then he probably has skill focus. Well, so
Yeah.
he's probably got like +17 to Thessalonian
He might even
nonsense.
have-
Better than
20.
me, at least.
He might even have +20.
He looks up Ranrua up and down and says, "Nah, this right here, this trollop is a member of the Black Dragonflight who came here to take all of our sins. Good on you, Black Dragonflight." And he just kind of like taps you on the shoulder.
This is our
I don't know what he's
expert.
talking about.
Fantastic.
Oh
So,
my goodness, he's a worse Alex Jones. Who doesn't even get things correct in the end.
God,
no.
yeah.
There's a jar in the church that says Brodert was right jar. Like,
Oh no.
Oh no!
hard.
Actually, the matriarch is my mother.
and who's the patriarch?
How would I know?
That's a good
All
point.
Heck
Alright.
walks over and puts
Back
in
to
a
what we're
silver
talking
into the
about
jar.
You're a dragon bloodline sorceress, which means you are part of the Black Dragon flag sent here to take our sins.
Oh, God.
Am I correct or am
Well.
I not?
All
Well,
right.
I think Brodert just answered the question of why she was here for the Runewell.
I know not of stealing sins.
What?
Isn't that exactly what the Runewells do, though?
Well, the Runewells, although they absorb sin from people that die or whatever, people that are around Runewells tend to be affected by the Runewells' magic, thus instigating the sins of that type. So, if someone's near Runewell of Wrath, they might get angry for no reason, possibly lashing out, and thus feeding the Runewell even more sin, as it were.
Oh, I thought she was absorbing the sins every single time she went to lay with people.
Man, like, Heck just slut shaming the shit out of Ranrua.
Right?
Like,
God
I've
damn
been doing it since stream 1.
I'm trying to think, does Saturday care about that?
No.
Okay. It's just Heck being a bitch.
Yes.
Like, okay, that's fair.
Hector's just here slut shaming just because.
Which is ironic coming from a Zon Kuthan worshiper, too.
Jeez.
Anyway, Brodert,
So-
after just undressing Ran Rua's backstory, kind of throws some books on the table. Here's everything I know about some Thessalonians, including some notes I made on my own. And he essentially confirms what Zerdan is saying, that rune wells are powered by sin and encourage it. It's very cyclical.
So what would end up happening is that when the Runewells took charge of these Runewells, they would make it to where pretty much everyone was going in on the sin of their choice. In this case, the Rune Lord of Wrath would want people to feel wrathful all the time. Hence, the Runewells sprinkled throughout would make it to where anyone who was in that Rune Lord's domain be wrathful and thus power the Runewell when they died or however that sin is harvested.
Yep, I'm going to drop the Alex Jones voice for a moment. And Brodert, despite throwing off some like nonsense once in a while, does actually have quite a font of information. And he explains that all rune lords practiced what is called sin magic, where they had their rune wells, and as the sin spawn pointed out, they would extract sin from sinners. And they would use that in order to generate mythic power. And they used that mythic power to do various things. The Rune Lord of Wrath was a time traveler who went into the future and past in order to avoid the Starfall.
You mean Earthfall?
Right, what did I say?
You said Starfall.
That's ostensibly what is correct. The ancient Thessalonians called it the Starfall. Shut up.
I'm just asking questions.
He explains that the rune wells predate the Earthfall, and to those who do not know, the Earthfall is the apocalyptic event that happened in early Pathfinder history. Specifically, the Rune Lord of Wrath, which Brodert does know a bit about, he mentions that one attempted to time travel her way, I believe, into the future to avoid it, which is why there's Wrath wells everywhere.
And no Wrath Rune Lord to be found. Yet.
Well, she died a long, long time ago. Or a little bit ago. Time travel's f***ed up.
Or she hasn't died yet. Whatever.
I heard in the future that all the Rune Lords are going to make a return, but that's a second edition thing.
Second what?
Now he's breaking the fourth wall!
Just awkward stare at the camera. What?
Anyway, he could basically answer a lot of questions about Thessalonian sin magic. He goes on for a bit and explains that there are not only many, many lesser rune wells of wrath, but there are suspected to be several lesser rune wells of the other sins as well. Most of the rune lords created one giant well. Alasnist was really weird in that she was the only rune lord who was not an atheist. She worshipped Lamashtu in order to essentially gain not only her mythic power, but that allowed her to create more powerful creatures.
Right.
Yeah. And she was the one who spread the most around Galarian. No one's quite sure what happened to her. There's lots of different theories, but the more he talks, the more he seems to believe she's alive. He then goes off and says some weird shit, like she helped make the Bargus, which is absolutely incorrect, at least for as far as history knows.
Mm-hmm.
As far as history knows, not as far as it's completely confirmed.
Right.
Ah, jeez.
He also mentioned she had several children, but you can try to confirm that if you want as well.
Okay.
14.
This guy's office rocker.
Yeah. Anyway, would you happen to know anything as far as what mythic power would do for people that got imbued with said power? Because...
Yes. I don't know about what kind of mythic power she gained, but this bitch essentially wanted to unlock the powers of demons. Being a worshiper of Lamashtu, she believed that she could essentially gain demonic mythic power.
Oh.
She had several monstrous children, and many of them went on to, could cause calamity throughout the ages.
That's neat. But
And
is there any indication as far as what someone starting off with that power could possibly do?
anyone with any amount of mythic power can destroy the world. But fortunately, we don't know anyone with mythical power, so we don't need to worry about that.
Oopsie, looks
Heck
Bella.
slowly starts to draw her blade.
Don't.
Heck slowly puts the blade back.
Okay.
Runewell of Wrath was designed to bring out the inherent demonic energies from within someone.
Starts to pull the blade out again.
Oh, come on!
Fortunately, we don't know anyone with mythic power, and we don't need to worry about it anymore because no Runewells of Wrath are active, right? Father Zantis just slowly nods.
Okay.
Correct that
Now
information.
I charge
Well,
10,000 gold pieces per lecture. I'm glad that you accepted my services. I needed to pay my rent.
No! We did not have a binding agreement here. No contract, no nothing. I appreciate your assistance here, but unless anything else happens, I think you can safely go back to the Curious Goblin bookshop now. Thank you.
Barty does perk up and say, I do think he should be compensated, though, for his time.
I give him 3 gold.
I'm not paying him shit.
Barty stays Heck's hand and says, no, this is a service of the church. The church will provide. Sir, if you could come this way, we will get you very well along your way. Brodert starts picking up his books. I can't believe that I'm being cheated like this. Barty Goodcopper takes Brodert and they leave. So essentially, if you guys have further questions about Thessalonian stuff, you'll just kind of know at least 3 facts for the group. Since I've never quite done anything like this, it will cost the church a bit, but fortunately, it's just costing the church. You don't need to worry about it.
Oh,
Just
God
don't
damn
do
it.
it too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the church makes no money.
It's the only one at Sandpoint, and it worships 6 gods, so there you go.
I mean, true, but I don't think we're gonna be calling him up again. No. Hell, for all we know, he could have just been freaking high off of some ale or something.
I don't think one usually gets high off of ales, Dan.
You know what I mean? By the stars, I am not going to accept that man as an expert over anyone else I know in the world here. Jesus.
Zerdan, do you need to just lie down and rest? You're still looking pretty beat up from earlier.
I'll be fine.
At what point will you stop digging that grave of yours?
Zantis says, oh, that was enlightening.
Yeah.
Bella, if you would like, you can come forward, and we can hopefully examine your mythic power and see if this demonic corruption is affecting you at all.
Don't know many demons that have halos.
You can be surprised.
Bella, you come forward. Father Zantis casts Detect Alignment on you. You are still, I believe, chaotic or neutral good?
Yes.
Okay.
Neutral good, leaning chaotic.
Yep. You are still in the correct alignment spot. He does a couple various spells here and there, essentially identifying you personally. As far as he can tell, your soul has not been corrupted. Your personality has not changed or swapped at all. Although, with one various treasure, he says, I sense that you are... He even chuckles a little bit. I sense you are a bit on edge and perhaps a little bit angry, but I can't imagine anyone in your situation would not be. He's basically saying you have an elevated pulse. As far as I can tell, you have nothing wrong with you physically, mentally, or spiritually. It's just that you now possess mythic power, although I did detect your celestial bloodline.
Yes, I knew about that.
He stops for a moment and says, well, did you know you were an Asamar?
What?
Says you, my dear, you are an Asamar. You will have the blood of angels and celestials residing within you. And in fact, this has always been the case.
What?
Heck just comes forward and just grabs her. You're the daughter of a freaking god!
Let's not jump the gun here, Hecht.
Zantis points out, no, dear, not quite like that. You see, an Asamar can appear at any point in the world. You are aware of tieflings, I believe. They are more commonly known, where an individual with an infernal heritage can sometimes randomly crop up. It could be your parents, one of your parents had celestial bloodline. It could be an ancestor from long, long ago. It could have been coming from anywhere. But you are, in fact, not a Masic, but an Asimar. Our town has a history with them, and...
I've heard.
Yes, it's quite unfortunate. A long time ago, there was, before the late unpleasantness, we had another priest in town who had an adoptive daughter, and her name was Nualia, and it was unfortunate that the town did not treat her as she should have been treated. She was treated as a commodity, an oddity. People would take locks of her hair, or hang out near her and stalk her, almost, hoping that just being near her would bless them.
She couldn't actually do that, right?
No.
I can't actually do that?
The Asimar heritage manifests in various ways. Some can have been known to go on and become full angels themselves, but others simply have exotic appearances, or they produce halos or light, or sometimes can even purify water. It's no different than any other racial trait. Uxio has a vampiric heritage, but that doesn't make him any less of a human than you or I.
Well, that does explain one thing, yeah.
He puts a hand on your shoulder. You are no less of a human than anyone else in this room. And you are no...
If anything, Ranrua is the least human.
I was avoiding saying that.
Well, it's technically true. She's no less human than you are.
Mm-hmm.
You just are more celestial than mortal. And I believe this mythic power is drawing out that heritage in you. Could you perhaps try to manifest your mythic power on your own?
Uxio takes a step back.
Heck takes a step forward.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez. Ever since I got the power, I've felt something else within me. It's like another reservoir, or a reservoir of oil that I could ignite if I want.
He nods and says, yes, that is your mythic power bubbling within you. You can summon it at any time, as is the case with all mythic heroes. I am sad and glad to say that you are now removed from the duties of fate and destiny. You now defy the very gods themselves with your mythic power.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see what this can do. Bella's going to activate her mythic ability.
Alright. Alright, Bella, you activate your mythic power, and a pair of ethereal but feathery looking wings appear behind you, and a halo manifests.
Is there any energy coming off of Bella?
She glows light, but nothing like insane right now.
So it's not like there's positive energy coming off that might cause pain to those who are undead inclined.
No, not at the moment.
Uxio takes a step forward.
Okay.
I now cast Smite Good and start attacking Bella. I'm kidding.
Ah.
You do notice some of the bruises she picked up from earlier are starting to shrink rapidly.
It seems that your celestial bloodline is manifesting with your mythic power. I am curious as to what you want to do with this. Your destiny is your own. Not even the gods can interfere with your plans.
I don't know. I never even had plans for when I came to Sandpoint. I was just doing work.
Well, I believe that it's up to you what you wish to do. I understand that Sandpoint is possibly within peril. By the way, your fast healing brings you up to full. I believe Sandpoint could use someone such as yourself. If you would like to stay within town, I can find a home for you, either within the church, or I could discuss with Bardi ways to get you a home.
She can have the room that's right next to me.
Wouldn't that be the dream?
If you would like to examine your mythic power, I would be more than happy to help guide you along your mythic path. But the choice is yours. No one can stop you.
I think I'd like that for now.
Evan speaks up. So you're not planning on going home with us after we're done with all this?
I don't know yet. It'll depend on the answers I get.
Father, is there a way that I can stay at the church as well? I'll be an acolyte or whatever. He thinks for a moment and just simply nods and says, I understand you are a friend of Bella here, correct? He nods and says, very well. I will find you work within the cathedral.
You don't have to do that, Evan.
He shakes his head and says, no, I've not been a good friend to you, and I'm going to make that up to you.
Bella will actually smile and say, thanks.
He gives you a thumbs up. Signature thumbs
As
up.
he does.
But you realize that now Foxglove has no bodyguard. He has more incentive to stay with us in order to at least have something akin to bodyguards.
Evan points out too, well, he could become a patron of the church.
No.
Oh God!
Please, no.
I barely know that guy, and I doubt that would appeal to him.
I doubt the idea of it appealing to him appeals to any of us, and most of us don't know him.
Evan also shrugs and says, well, we did just fix up his house. He's got a big fancy house to go home to. It's not like he needs to be with us.
So that does bring up a point as far as what is he going to do as far as going back home, assuming nothing horrible happens on the way.
Evan shrugs and says, that's kind of his problem. But right now,
our contract's pretty much up anyway.
Wait, that's the contract? Wow. Okay then.
At most, we'll have to escort him home, but it's not like it has to actually be us.
What about Aisha? I think Aisha will be happy enough living with a rich guy for the rest of her life.
About that, Evan, have you noticed her acting a bit different?
Evan kind of like scratches his beard and he points out, I mean, she's always been impulsive. What do you mean?
Well, remember when, remember how, he tried to invite Ran Rua in?
Evan blushes. No.
Well, as far as I know, she's not into other women.
Evan shrugs and says maybe she's trying to be a good wife, and all the acolytes just stare daggers at him for that one. And
including Hecht.
Wait, what?
Devil's advocate, I don't think he means that the way that you're all taking it. I think he means more trying to be accommodating so that the relationship can work.
Yeah, that Evan points at Lucio. Yeah, that. Please.
I might get that if they hadn't been married practically overnight.
That is kind of odd, though. Yeah.
Agreed.
It's like less than a week.
Oh.
Hardly sounds different than a Lamian relationship.
You don't think she's just gold digging him and like anything like that, do you?
I honestly don't know. It's just she's been different.
I do believe that we're all getting very distracted now with what is a possibility of future things and not something that's about to become very present.
That's right.
True.
I mean,
That's
we
right.
have literally the fact that we have an Asimar about to go face off another Asimar.
Something about the way you're pronouncing that does not feel right.
Zantis, his eyebrows shoot to the ceiling. Oh, what do you mean by that?
Oh no, Hecht.
Oh, right, we haven't informed Father Zantis about the predicament that we're about to go face.
This is probably going to be something we're going to probably discuss with the town council here, but goblins from earlier, there's more of them and they're going to be planning an attack. And
their leader is someone that brought up in this very conversation.
Zantis turns pale and says, no, she died before the unpleasantness.
Evidently not.
Hold up. This is a lot of information for Father Zantis. This is a journal I managed to recover from Sudo earlier, since...
Do you really want to give that journal to a holy man with some of the images he drew?
Well...
Zantis just kind of waves. My boy, I handle confession here at the church. There's nothing in there that he could... Oh, my lord! He, like, turns the book sideways, upside down. How?
Apparently, Sudo had a lot of time on his hands.
Good lord! Amico's brothers are degenerates! Oh, my god!
Okay, but ignoring those bits, I'll point you to the text throughout here that...
Interesting choice of words.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, come on, that's practically nothing compared to certain religious imagery.
Yeah, me. That was played up for funsies. He's like, oh, that's very hefty. That is very. This weighs heavy on my heart, but thank you for bringing this to me.
I'm sorry you had to find out like this, but yeah.
He shakes his head and says, if what you say is true, that means that Nualia has also come into contact with mythic power.
Possibly. And
She's at the very least trying to.
Says, well, seems that the town was at least correct. She was special.
as far as back to the attack that we mentioned, I don't suppose there's spare holy water for our endeavor, since I guess in this Thistletop Fort there is possible undead in that area.
It's not possible undead. There's an entire horde of undead.
Well, yeah, a lot of undead. So if there's anything that could help us out, it would be greatly appreciated.
If there's a zombie horde, I suppose I could go myself.
I mean, that's greatly appreciated, but considering the plans that we're probably going to try to enact here, it probably needs...
Father Zantis could always be one of the people on the draw-out party on a horse. That way he's at least a good distance away.
I mean, true, but look, if you want to help us in that way, you're free to do so, but there's already going to be a lot being put at stake here with the goblins, and they might need a father at the cathedral to provide shelter to those that can't fight for themselves.
You know what? Yeah, diplomacy Zerdan's or diplomacy hacked, then.
Darn you!
Damn! Zantis points out, very well, I will remain at the church, and Barty and I will account for and do our best to at least supply you with treasures, and that could fight off the undead. He sees you a little bit scuffed up, and he says, I have prepared Inflict for you today. Would you like me to help you out?
Uxio has a conflicted look on his, because his point of view is someone who's preparing healing magic should prepare for the majority, not special case him. But at the same time, given everything that's going on, he needs to be at 100%.
Worry not. I had just one available.
Very well, Father.
Okay. He hits you with an Inflict, 1d8 plus 5. It's only a first level.
Max!
Nice!
Yeah, I think that will get me there.
First level.
I believe there was one more thing that was addressed. My dear Bella, thank you for showing me your mythic power, but it is my understanding that one other in this room was also seeking your mythic power.
Everyone heads turns to Ran Rua.
For some reason, I imagined that Ranrua was in the back finding her nails.
Probably.
Zantis explains, my dear, since you first came to town, I knew of your alignment, and I sensed that you did not have fully good intentions for the town, but I kept my mouth shut for everyone's sake. But I'm afraid that until we learn more about you, we cannot trust you, and we have one or two options that are available to me as father of this cathedral.
Oh.
I could either A, order your slaying. And out of respect for you and what you've done for the town, I do not want to do that. Or B, I could put you under a gaze. we've
Geas.
Geas. I could put you under a
Gesh.
Geas, a Gesh, and guarantee through divine swearing that you will do no action that will bring harm to the town.
For as long as I've been here, I have not actively done so.
But now it's in question.
It very much is in question. I don't doubt that you don't really have cruel intentions for everyone, but as far as your patron goes, we do not know enough about you to trust you anymore.
Uxio looks to the door that our Alex Jones stand-in walked through as, well, we have some insight now.
Zantis waves that off. I don't believe for a second that dragonflight nonsense.
But at least it could be deduced that Ranrua here is a sorcerer of draconic descent, correct?
Yeah. And at this
Yep.
point, unfortunately, say what you want, but Lamia, racism aside, Lamia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. In this world, that's perfectly a thing. And for years, like, that wasn't really a bad thing. It's just that the town's feeling very betrayed. Zantis says, Ran Rua, I will not force you to do anything. The only thing the Gesh will do is prevent you from directly harming our citizens. If you accept,
And-
I can place it on you, and you can be about your way and do whatever business you feel is best for you. You've served our town loyally for years, and for that, we are grateful.
Even if I was able to get the power from the Runewell, I would have simply left this town.
But as far as people are concerned, they just want to make sure that nothing happens. And if for whatever reason things prove that you are right, Father Zantis can easily just dismiss the spell. Correct?
Correct. At the very least, provided that after this whole goblin nonsense, I will remove the spell. And you are free to go about and do whatever you wish.
And the only condition you are placing with this is that I not harm denizens of Sandpoint.
I think that's fair.
I will allow this.
Thank you. She can't PvP the party while under the Gesh either.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Father Zantis basically produces a scroll that's going to act as your Gesh contract. Barty Goodcopper will also oversee the contract because that's kind of what he does. And essentially it says Ran Rua will not perform any act that will directly harm or indirectly harm the denizens of Sandpoint to her knowledge. Ran Rua is allowed to defend herself against an unprovoked attack.
If one more thing, Father Zantis, make it to where it's preventing them from harming the citizens of Sandpoint as well as the angels of Sandpoint, as it were.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those terms are fair enough. I don't think Ranrua really needs to add anything here.
Very well. As you guys finish up the contract, Zantis casts the spell on you, and you are currently under a Gesh that will last 1 year or until Zantis dismisses it.
Bella might ask if the father or anyone else he knows could do detect magic or perhaps some like higher version of detect magic on this, because Bella figures now that it's actively doing things again, maybe someone can get a read on this thing.
Zantis does point out to a legend lore scroll that he has on the table. I can use this. However, we have dedicated a good portion of the church's treasury to it right now. Perhaps at a later date.
While we're not burning the legend lore, I think a detect magic on the thing would be pretty
Sufficient?
reasonable to do.
He can tell
Right.
that it has a strong necromancy aura. And he knows that it gives a +1 to saving throws and that it can grant false life. That's what he knows it can do. Due to the nature of how artifacts work, he cannot determine anything else about it. You intuitively, as the owner of the necklace, know how it works. So you know it can do that. Evan will suggest to you, what if we contact your mother? Like, could she bring anything, like, from the academy?
We can find out.
How long would it take her to get here? Uxio has no idea how far away Bella's hometown is.
Evan's like, she's a very powerful sorceress.
Yeah, it depends on how badly she wants to get here. If she really wants to get here, she will.
At the moment, what is most pressing is that we handle this goblin problem, as you've stated, and we eliminate that Runewell that you are discussing. We're gonna just assume at this point that Zerdan has informed everyone about the Runewell and the conditions.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I think it is a bad idea to honor any deal with a goblin.
Agreed.
Of course.
That's just common sense, is it not?
Regardless of who it is, we can't allow that Runewell to be active.
Indeed. I will look into ways to permanently destroy Runewells and any other artifacts pertaining to them, but for now, I believe it is best that, Bella, you gather as much, like all the mythic power that they have generated, and bring it back to us. Since you are removed from Destiny, you are free to do what you wish with the mythic power, but I request that you bring it here at the very least.
I think I can make it do that.
I also encourage that if you need to grant mythic power to anyone, I trust Hecht, Zerdan, and Uxio.
As much as I appreciate the thought, I believe it would either be Uxio or Hecht that could possibly make better use of that power.
It seems I'd be most fit to use it.
Since you refuse to tell us of your mission or your patron, I don't feel comfortable at the moment granting it to you. But perhaps in the future, you've served. I feel I am being more than fair in saying that you've served Standpoint well, but your actions and behavior and, no offense, your heritage filled me with doubt.
What? Are we sure we don't want to give it to Ran Rua over here?
As Hecht was making that sarcastic remark, Uxio was having a flashback to Hecht in the crypts.
Anyone else would probably take priority over me, barring existential circumstances.
As far as I can tell, any demonic energies that the mythic power grants is utter nonsense. At the moment, Bella, you are as pure as the day you came in.
Perhaps you should give it to Evan then. That way, both Bella and Evan are the mythical, powerful creatures that came out to help Sandpoint.
Evan's like, I'm good. I don't think I have any bloodline in my past that's good for me, bro.
Well, I guess we'll see when the moment comes.